So with that, I'll open the floor to questions, comments. Yes, sir.
You said benchmark 3 was going to be the closing of the entire lot.
Yes.
When is that?
That is projected first quarter of 2018. We put January in there because that's the target date, but it will be in that period of time.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I got a couple questions. How wide are the parking spaces?
Mr. Wilson?
Yep, we're looking at 9 foot wide parking spaces, which are level service A.
Okay, so, but 9 or 8 and 8.6 seems to be like the two different things. 9 would be better.
9 foot is the level service A, and that's what we're finding.
And is there, at the council meeting the other night, Counsel Palmucci raised a question saying that it was $47,000 per parking space. What is the cost to build this garage? Do you have that?
Yes, we do. It's going to be $40,000 per space.
Well, what's the total cost? I can do the math myself and do divide it. What's the cost of the parking garage that you're proposing to build right now?
We requested from the council, was it 43?
Well, John, that's an interesting question. Obviously, this team was at that meeting. There is a garage structure cost itself. And then you get into things such as the roadway networks into the garage and everything else, all the other site work that goes into the garage. I believe the garage structure is in the $31 million range. But when you start adding in all the roadway work, site prep, excavation, that number climbs up to what was stated in the diff request, which was $46 million.
Well, how about, is there a stormwater retention system underneath this building?
Yes.
Okay, and then my other question would be, with the ventilation, is it an enclosed parking structure without natural ventilation where mechanical ventilation and fire sprinklers are required?
We're going to have, the below grade is going to have to be ventilated because the below grade portion of the garage is enclosed. The above grade and above will be designed as an open parking structure, so we won't need to have ventilation and sprinkler systems.
I, as a resident of Quincy, there's a lot of extra things in this design to make it aesthetically pleasing, and the portion, half of the garage, maybe half of the garage, is going to the developers exclusively for their parking. It'd be nice to get them to pony up some more money towards this garage. Otherwise, give them more of a bare bones structure. So, I mean, these questions are all coming from a Colin Walker study. Everyone who's in the parking garage business should be familiar with them. And I honestly think that this is highly expensive. I think that they're borrowing all the money to pay for this. Basically, the problem is there's an $80 million bond that this is associated with, other than I would have rather just this come as one bond, saying this is a bond for the garage for, say, 37, 39 million. It seems like there's a range of between 31 million and maybe 45 million, but bottom line is it's an expensive garage, I'd like to see the developer pay for it and we could lease space from him. That would save us a lot of money. I just, my worries is I don't want them to be any profit on the development of the garage. I don't think it would be fair for whoever builds the garage to make a profit off of a project which I really think should go out for an RFP for, let everyone give us the best price of how much it would cost to build this garage. So, but those are all the questions that I have, and I thank you for answering them.
Yeah, well, just to further provide you a little more information, and this is for the entire group, this is one of the images that's in the diff request. And, as stated, the garage structure itself, the estimated cost on that is just over $31 million. We're also carrying $1 million for facade. So that's the look, and that's where Cheryl comes in with her design. And then the balance of the work is obviously engineering, architectural fees, site access, landscaping. Now the blue shaded area includes the public space. It also includes widening of Cottage Street and providing the access road to the garage and the additional access point. So you add all of those, this is soil removal, soil management. It's also stormwater. The second phase of the drainage relocation is connected to this garage cost as well. So a number that's, $32, $33 million for the garage structure, because I'm going to add the facade. The balance, up to $46 million, is all the additional site work and professional fees. So that's the best way to kind of describe that overall cost. That's just more than half of the diff request. There's a lot of other subsurface utilities that are occurring around this lot and parts of the Ross Garage and other areas as well. That's part of that diff request currently before the council.
Thank you. Also, to your point, the two developers involved will be paying rent. They'll be paying a lease that was negotiated as part of the LDA, which the city council approved. And that's a necessary precursor. As we referred to it in making our presentations, they are the anchor tenants. And this process, as I had mentioned in my introduction, has been a sequential process of analyzing what the need in downtown Quincy would be, predicated on what the prospective developments would be. And initially there was talk of a 400-car garage, a 500-car garage, a 600-car garage, and this proposed garage that we have analyzed, and I might add, we had the advantage of having cost estimators, both cost estimators that work for Desmond and independently with Kennedy and Company, actually costed out based upon current market conditions for constructing a garage of this nature. So we have done everything we can to make sure that our estimate is as close to real life, not pie in the sky. And it will be buttressed when the construction commences by a provision in the LDA that requires the construction of the garage to be conducted pursuant to a guaranteed maximum price contract. And so the contractor will be held to that price in constructing both the garage as well as any other public improvements that they may be involved with.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
How many spots will the O'Connor building have?
The O'Connor will have 128?
130.
130.
130 internal or out of that 730?
Out of the 730.
So they'll have 130, the LBC, is that,
They have a guarantee of 50, which is reviewable.
okay, and then the Clacton building has 50?
And which building?
Clifton has none.
Clifton has none.
Okay.
Clifton has all their own parking. And for the future, any future development that would occur on these sites would be required to park themselves.
I mean, I'm just looking at it simplistically. You have 450 spots being taken away. Now you're gonna have 730. You gain 280 spots. You're giving out 180 of those to them. And you're adding retail. And that's probably not enough. If you have 120 condos, they have 130 spots. Most condos are gonna have more than that. So, but to me, I didn't do a study, but you're gonna wait years to, the situation is worse than it is.
Well, that's not what our analysis has shown. And they will be leasing those spaces as I say, as anchor tenants. There are projections that with the advent of Uber and zip cars and things of that nature, proximity, the folks who are looking at moving into some of these new developments are looking to be close to rapid transit.
And Bill, I'll jump in. I got the pleasure of working with Bill when he was chairman on the planning board. But I've been at this downtown a little bit longer than he has. This, so everyone's clear, this is just the first garage. There is going to be more public garages namely over in the Ross Garage area. There could be one and up to two. And we are also planning with the MBTA station, and we expect, I think, both the city and the Commonwealth, that there will be a replacement of parking spaces at the MBTA. Now, that one might be a little bit further out, but we hope to soon be well into construction on this Hancock lot where we could see construction commencing in the Ross Garage area. That would contain at least one, and it could be an additional second garage, again, to add capacity. The overall MEPA certificate, the environmental permit for the downtown, calls for over 3,000 new structured parking spaces. So this is, about a third of that, not even a third of those spaces. So I can understand in the focusing on just this area, you have some concerns. Hey, you're barely replacing existing parking, and all the new you're creating is going to the new uses. Well, as Bill pointed out, those are anchor tenants. We've had plans or good ideas for redevelopment, but until private development comes forward with the new programs, new residential, new commercial, new retail, it's difficult to finalize design plans. The city's lucky enough to have 2 developers come forward for the Hancock lot, which allowed us to move towards the final design on the Hancock lot garage. We're holding out now. There's R2 and R3, 2 additional development sites. The city's position, I think we've said publicly a number of times, whether it was Amendment 4 or others, is those would park themselves. So those would be more of your traditional, sub-level parking on the first level with either retail or residential above. There's not the capacity in that garage to support those 2 developments. Yes?
You mentioned R2 and R3. One of the slides, this is the first time that I've seen it, is an R4. Can you tell us about that? I think it was the first slide that was up.
Yeah, there are private properties that are abutting on this Hancock lot that could be assembled for redevelopment by others at this point.
Is there a reason why there's one that actually puts it onto a plan? Like, I think it's a slide before this. that
Well,
has-
in here we have future redevelopment area. We're in a planning and concept stage here. As I stated with your clients before when we spoke, if the city were to pursue any acquisition of Mrs. Robinson's property, would have to do that through an amendment to the urban renewal plan, which would require city council approval.
Is there an amendment in progress?
Not right now. There is contemplation of Amendment 5. If we were to advance any targeting of any of those private businesses, it would come out in that public process. I've mentioned the city will not show up at your door in the dead of night to kick you out. We cannot do that. Now, that's not to say private entities, private forces out there may approach you to try to buy your property as well as the Consolvi's property and others. The private transactions is beyond government reach, but any public action with any of those private properties would need urban renewal plan amendment, and then once that amendment's in place, it would require a taking order. In the city of Quincy, the taking agency for the city is the city council. So that's 2 city council votes before this, we could ever assume control of your property.
No, we understand the process. It's
Yeah.
just that it's pretty aggressive to have without anything having been mentioned before, someone's property being replaced with a
Right, there's over 100 properties in the urban renewal plan. It's 55 acres. Anyone in that urban renewal plan could be subject for taking at some future date. That's how the urban renewal plan works.
But not everyone has their building replaced with a gray cutout with a target on it.
Fair enough.
So that's the form of my question. Can we see a draft of any amendments as they're being circulated outside of council?
I'm sorry.
Can we see a draft of any proposed amendments early on as they're being circulated outside of council?
Drafts, I'm not sure.
I don't know about drafts, but we can certainly provide you with anything we intend to final.
Any amendments before the city council, all property owners within the urban renewal district are notified.
But let me ask you this, is that the first time this property has ever been shown on a schematic? Was it shown as part of streetworks or one of those others?
There's a,
It's not this one.
a basic generic massing.
Yeah, it went from there
That's a
to,
little modified.
go back to the first slide, it went from there to, keep going one more,
Redevelopment area down here.
and before that, right there.
Sort of another
No, it's
redevelopment zone.
It's the same as R2 and R3.
We've worked with, what's occurring here is RKG Associates is the city's financial consultant. We have to make certain assumptions on projecting future tax growth. That was an area seemed likely for redevelopment in the future. They're trying to project out over the next 4 to 5 years, 10 years on, long-term projections. We're looking at concepts in the Star Market site. That's an old tired commercial area with a massive parking lot that, from a planning perspective, we think someone's going to come forward with a major redevelopment for the Star Market site. So that's what's occurring on that image. There's nothing official, and I stand by the statement that any city action, any government action on your properties requires an urban renewal amendment 5, and then a taking order both are council actions.
Yes, sir.
Mark Ramondi, 711 Foster Street. I'm right on the corner of West Chestnut. They built it. I like the development. I like everything I see. But you leaving the neighbors, like myself, that abuts the courthouse, for 3 years, as you stated in the beginning, Koch Street is where the main corridor, everything goes down. And then it comes down Foster Street to College. For 3 years, I lived with steel plates on the road, curbing, barriers, you know what we lived with there. Then the project went south. After they ripped the building down for a year, it came back. So the total was 3 years, and they put everything temporary. They finished it, it looks good. Chestnut looks great. Across the street, they took the building down, they put the new curbing and the drive-through, that looks good. But in the course of all this, in 3 years, I dealt with D'Alessandro, Veneria, and 3 other contractors that took the fence down on my property line where the courthouse is. You can drive, it's been like that for 2 years, leaning over. Excuse me. They took the sidewalks up, and when they put the new sidewalks in, they encroached on the driveway because of the slope, and now I have a 3-to-1 slope. You drive by, you'll see it. I've been dealing with a gentleman that's been working very well for me. I didn't even know he was going to be here, Mr. Carroll. I call Mr. Carroll once a month, because I know that's the way everything operates around here. He'll tell you, in the course of a year, I called him 12 times. This started a year and a half ago. I gave it a break because of the winter time, the paving, the sidewalks, the street lights. Mark, nothing can be done. No problem. I come back, they do the paving, they do the street lights, they finished all the curbing. Foster Street, my property, where they did bring the dump trucks up, the excavators, my new driveway. The best one is when the hydraulic line broke. They actually parked the equipment in the driveway, went all over the asphalt, lifted it all up after I'm done. The contractor, goes over and gets sand. Throws the sand over from the hole, nice, fix it. You gotta take a look at it. I'm not looking for 40 billion. I'm not looking for 500,000. I'm looking for maybe 8,500 to 12,000 to fix what they damaged. I think that we all should have, if we're abutters or we're residents, a name and address of a contact person. I have a sheet of contact person, but I'm not going to drop names here. I'm not going to blame these half a dozen people, but nobody can do nothing for me. But yet, here we are looking at these good concepts, and I like it. Here I am, right across the street again from it, and I get nothing but excuses. This gentleman here, he goes to the meetings and just keeps coming back to me, and like you were Cashman, I think, they were one of the players on the, he can't even get through. So what I would like to leave with tonight is, with these projects, is someone that we can contact, who that they can come and say, yes, Mark, and I can wait. I had to wait till the project was done last year, no problem. Then I had to wait till they asphalt the street, no problem. Lie. So that's where I am. I'm just frustrated with the end results, but I'm happy with the development. I just need a contact person, that's my beef. Thank you.
Okay. Well, I apologize for that. I'm sorry. You have every reason to be upset. And I'll give you my contact information before we leave.
Great.
Okay.
Because everybody pulled out, as you know. Everything looks pretty, everything's pulled out, everyone's gone. And this might be a year away. And take a look at my property and the courthouse property. And it's
Okay.
thank you.
Well,
I'll take you a little way.
Yeah, we certainly don't want that result. And I can say that neither the mayor nor many of us were always happy with the way things went with various contractors. And not to make excuses or to bore you with the excuses, but some of the projects, particularly the Adams Green project, which is a lot of that road work project, actually was a Mass DOT project. And so they had supervisory control over them as distinguished from the city. And so a number of those sins are attributable to the city. Since you're a citizen of the city, we'll take the responsibility for remedying them. We won't sidestep them. We will make every good faith effort to remedy them.
Correct. And to answer that, I had to get the contractors' names and numbers, and I did. And then we're going to go after the contractor. And I talked to Delasato, I know person, John Delasato, an area. Yeah, but this is small. There's like a toothpick to what they're building. And I understand that. But we should get a little more respect for that, especially when we put up. I got a dance school out here. I got 35 girls that want to do Irish dancing. I have 14 attorneys upstairs out there, you know. We got the courthouse people there. We got a lot of traffic there. And take a ride by. Anybody take a ride by, you can say, wow, this looks great. What happened here? I got left.
Okay.
That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any other questions, comments? Well, a few of us will be here for a little while if you want to speak with us after we adjourn. You'll be hearing more from us. We'll be making presentations again to the City Council tomorrow evening, as well as a week from Monday, or next Monday, I guess it is, yes, on the 19th. And then the council will be adjourning for the summer, so we won't be making presentations there until they return from their recess. But we will be reaching out particularly to the abutters, the business owners, similar to what we did a week or so ago at the Force, to keep you posted. And Mr. Carroll has been a valuable resource to the city. And we also have another gentleman by the name of Tom Russo, who actually is on the street every single day, overseeing the various construction projects and dealing with some of these issues. So I don't know if he was on that roster of people that you tried to contact, but he is another contact. But you call me, and it's on me. Okay.
That's it. Done.
And you can't miss me. You
No.
can't miss me.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you all for coming, and please don't hesitate to contact us if you have issues, and we will try as best we can with the media as well as in person and any other means we can to keep the public informed of what's going on. It's been a long process, you know, and Rob's been with it for over 10 years. I've been with it for a little over a year, and we're on the cusp. I mean, construction is the true test of whether or not this undertaking is going to succeed. We believe it's going to succeed, and we want it to be beneficial for everybody who lives, works, or has a business in this